Greetings, explorers. Welcome to my third live chat, I believe it is. I see we have a few people in here already. I see you there, Frankie, who's listening to a bit of yours over on your channel, New West Reset. Interesting stuff on the Drumheller situation there. A bit of meltage going on. Hello, Kenneth. Thank you for joining me here this evening. 6 o'clock my time in the evening. We got smoke-filled skies here. You can almost not even see across the street. It's been like that here for about basically the whole week, actually. So what are we doing today? What are we talking about? I've got a whole whack of files from across the realm, as promised. I have had a few people say, can you get off the continent already with your explorations? I seem to dive deep into the States, and it's like a never-ending pool of this stuff, and can't get out of it. But I do have plenty of files from all over the place. So I will be venturing out in the coming weeks into different places across the realm. So stay tuned for those explorations as well. I'll just dive in and I'll try to keep an eye on the chat. But I would definitely like to thank you all for joining me. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button. And well, if you're not subbed, then I assume you're all subbed. But if you're not, sub to the channel and stay tuned for more that comes down the pipe. Okay, so I chose to start with this classic look at the old Chicago skyline, which I think is very telling of what once existed here, the old Chilaga skyline, maybe we could call it that. We're going to look at a couple of these buildings. So what I'm going to do is go into a little more depth on each of these buildings for the first little while, and I'll keep an eye on the chat, like I said, and we could probably venture out into some requests as we move forward. So this one in the front here is the Tribune building, and we're not going to be going into that today. That's certainly worth its own video on its own. I thought we could look at, we'll start with, let's see here, the London Guarantee building, which is this guy right here with the little docking station for the airships, which I think many of us are starting to see. Yeah, just regarding my comment on the States, Greg says, but the oddity exists in the US because we are supposed to be a young country. Yeah, that's kind of why I do keep a focus there, because if I show you Dijon, France, which is coming down the pipe, I got a file on it. We allow for that more in a historical narrative. So it's we marvel at the wonder of the buildings, but we don't marvel at the fact that they were built in the way that they were built, I suppose you could say. But we'll stay on the continent for this live exploration, and we'll get around. So we're going to start with the London Guarantee building. Let me pull that file up for you guys. No, wrong building again, sorry. I've got a whole bunch of files open ready for you here. So I just want to check the sound too. Actually, before I go any further, I might throw a little background if you don't mind. I like mood music. I don't know if you guys have noticed. I've been criticized for it in the chat sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't work always, but I like a little background. So I'm going to see what I can throw in, and let me know if it's too much or anything like that. I might take your word for it. I might not. If it's a consensus, I'll definitely get rid of it. But let's see here. Try this one. Oh, Matt in the chat says Bucharest, Romania. Did I do Bucharest? I did Budapest. I have a file on Bucharest. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah, I'll throw that one in the lineup too. Thanks, Frankie, for letting me know about the audio video. Clear my throat. All right, let me try to move forward here. I'll try not to get too distracted by the chat, but I do really am here to chat with you guys too. So I appreciate you being here. Like I said, I'll try to keep it visually entertaining as well as best I can. All right. So starting in with the London Guarantee Building in Chicago. So it's the shorter of the two. The other one is called, pull this up, the Mather Tower. So the one sitting next to it here is the Mather Tower, and this one is the London Guarantee Building. So let's look at a few more of this structure, and I'll tell you a little bit. I've got a Wikipedia page open here, so I can give you the bare bones BS backstory. Bare bones BS backstory from Wikipedia. So I'm going to start calling it now. Okay. This one reeks of old world. I mean, take a look at that. Spectacular. I mean, that's a total stunner at the top of that. Right? It's sort of been eclipsed by the sky rises, the modern day sky rises on the Chicago skyline. But so this was, let's see, 1923. This thing was supposedly cobbled together, or 22, depending on which part of the Wikipedia page you look at. It's Beaux Arts or Beaux Arts, right? That's what they're calling this. We have the architect. Who cares? Alfred S. Alschulzer. It's always the same story. It's just this really lame backstory. Hey, Mark, I see you, and I've seen your comments on the channel. Let me show it. Montrose, Colorado. This is funny because Mark's probably commented on about 10 to 12 of my videos, maybe not that many, requesting Montrose, Colorado. The fact is, I looked into Montrose and I couldn't find a lot. Some of my sources, they don't have a lot on that location. I'll try and dig into it a little bit more, but I couldn't find. Maybe you can point me in the direction. I don't know. But I see you, and I've seen your comments. So much to see in this realm. Let me keep moving forward here with this London Guarantee and Accident. London Guarantee and Accident Company. So the guarantee and accident, I guess. Tartarian Prague Rocker, nice name. I like that. Old world's all around us everywhere, right? Can't unsee it. Yeah, I'm jealous. You live in Boston. It must be unbelievable. I remember I saw it was probably a news piece like NBC News or something like that. They actually went underground into a theater. I don't know if it was an opera house or just a theater where they used to perform classical music, but it's literally underground. I don't know how many stories. Really unbelievable stuff, right? Can't even imagine what that must be like having it in your surroundings. Well, maybe it's under me here too, and it's just buried under however many feet of mud. Where I am, there isn't much visual old world evidence. I'm up in tucked away in northern British Columbia, Canada. I think that when the mud flood happened, I think that hundreds of feet of mud covered this area where I live. Right. Here's a question. Any opinion on why the population of Earth is in the east and not in the west? Not really. I've never given that too much thought. Maybe it wasn't always the case. Maybe they did a little reversal on us and they flipped the switch. just speculating. All right, the London Guarantee Building. Let's look at some interior, little eye candy for you guys. Get away from the comments now. Oh, I remember it well, my friend. I remember it well. Honk honk. All right. So this is a good example of some of the interiors we see in these buildings. I don't know what it is, if it's like a gilded wood or a plaster, or if there's some actually shaping of tin going on there. But it's quite spectacular. If you were tasked with finishing this portion of the ceiling with this pattern, um, you would have many sleepless nights trying to figure out how to even begin, I would suggest. So I know maybe that's because we're all just lazy online, you know, keyboard warriors now, and nobody actually ever does anything. That's sometimes what you get for the excuse for why they were able to build this way back then and not now. But those commenters seem to forget that we have all this technology at our disposal. We have CNC machines that could do all this for us, but you still have to get it into place. So, all right, looking over here again. All right, I'm gonna keep moving forward. Chat looks lively, so that's good. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for being here. There's a look. Now, again, we didn't even realize that that portion of the ceiling that we were looking at was probably way up in the air. You can see the really high front entry doors here. I'm going to remind you again, this is Chicago in 1923. This is, what, is this Prohibition era? This is Prohibition era, right? This is Al Capone timeline. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. You Americans probably know a lot better than I do about that BS backstory, which I think it is. All right. And then a little view of some of the decoration that we see on top. I like, are these molded? And then if they're molded, how do you get them out of the mold? How are they built? Very interesting. Yeah, Jamie says it only took two to 4 years to build. This one doesn't even tell us when they started building. They just said it was completed in that year. So gotta love it when they don't give you the full story. It's not like Wikipedia doesn't have access to the full story and it can't easily be put on there if there is a full story. Okay. Looking like a griffin, looking much like the griffin I have on my shirt, actually. If I can, this is maybe you can't see it. You can just caught a glimpse of it. That's a symbol for, what's his name? My Lunch Break. You're familiar with My Lunch Break? He has a great channel. He's doing some good work over there, blowing the narrative to bits. I got one of his shirts. I got the griffin on it, so I really like it. I'll keep moving forward here, try to get past this building. This building's beautiful. Even the shape, the way it hugs the streets, looking like obviously it's a part of the infrastructure, right? Okay, let me just share this comment from the Watchman. That is the Chicago lakefront. I actually rubbed my hands across the very stone you're showing the picture of, and I couldn't even tell you what type of material it is, but it is solid. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it at all. There are some serious mysteries going on here that we're pursuing. I don't think we're solving any mysteries, but we're pursuing them in this the field of research. All right, and the fixtures are all part of it too. I think that whole the electricity, the advent of electricity, and all how all that came to be was just like a reconfiguring of old technology. I think the gaslighting narrative is just that, gaslighting. I think that's actually where the term comes from. I know they say it's from a movie, and I don't know, that's just my theory. Some more shots of this place, but we'll move on. Oh, look at this. Can you guys see that? So they were doing this in 1923 in Chicago. Who? Is that not worthy of making note of in the Wikipedia article that I'm staring at right here? I mean, come on, right? And then I'd like to draw your attention again to the rosettes. I bring them up a lot in my videos. Eric Anthony, nice to see you. Yeah, guys, hit that thumbs up if you're watching. I often forget to hit the thumbs up as well. I get drawn into the content and I forget to actually do that. So please do. Let's get this questioning the narrative out there. Right, the architecture is beautiful to look at, so it's rather enjoyable, I find, questioning this narrative. There's the elevator hallway. Yeah, Shark Tech. The rosettes do look functional, and I think they are. I think there's a part of that ether harnessing that they play a huge part of, no question. Hello, Chassis Nix. Thank you for joining. Susan, you're not that late. We just got going. Thanks for joining. It's good to see you all here. All right, I'm going to try and keep the visuals coming. What else? One more of the London Guarantee and Accident. London Guarantee and Accident building. Of course, I'm playing with the words a little bit. Okay, let's get back to the skyline. So that was this guy. Next to it is the Mather Tower. I've got a small file on that as well. I won't stay in Chicago for too long. I'm going to do this one, and then we'll do the Jeweler's Tower in behind it. This one's a jaw dropper. But let's go over to the Mather Tower. And I find this a strange shaped building. You can see it's kind of slender, and I don't know if you can see this, not a great photo. There's the top of it. So Art Deco, I believe. Let me see if that's what they call it. The Mather Tower, according to Wikipedia. Here we go. 1923. And then 1929 an add-on or something like that. It's all in that the Roaring 20s. While Al Capone was smuggling alcohol, they were shooting these buildings up into the sky. Here's a good comment. Randy, only 100 years and we can't repeat it today. What else? Yeah, I honestly think we can't. I don't know if we even have a starting point. I mean, if we could, it would be a monumental feat, and it would be. I don't think we have the materials. I think there's something that was lost. You know, like a Lord of the Rings, that much that once was is lost. For none now live who remember it. We're remembering though, aren't we? It's funny. It's like, how can you remember something you didn't experience? Oh, maybe we did. I don't know. That's how I'm starting to see this research now. The Mather Tower. You can actually see, it's hard to tell as I zoom, but you can see the detailing between all the windows here. It's really amazing. And of course the stone materials for a set of stairs. I've done a lot of finish work, interior finish work for some high-end clients, meaning clients that pay a lot of money to make it look good. And nothing like that even comes close to what we're looking at here, where everything is this looks like marble paneling. You know, like this is molded marble handrail on the top, all the treads marble. So yeah, again, Randy, right in the middle of a financial collapse, or right before. There seems to be so many from late 1920s. Maybe that's what they did. They just spent and spent and spent, and then ran out of money. Okay, back to the jeweler's building now. This one back here, you've got the dome, and you got the 4 mini domes surrounding it. So I think I have that pulled up as well. Let's see if I can pull it up. Here it is. And I think this one's gonna knock your block off, if you, to borrow a phrase that my father used to use growing up. The jeweler's building. Let me just pull that up over here as well. They call it 35 East Wacker. So I guess that's just the address that they're calling the building. There was another name as well. 40 stories tall. Time of completion is it was built from 1925 to 1927. 1925 to 1927. So we've got a 2-year window of opportunity to get this baby done. Imagine the pressure coming down on your head from the boss. You're up here, you're 40 stories up in the Chicago skyline. What is it, the Windy City? You're on the scaffold. Maybe it's just a little plank. You see a big knot in the middle of the plank, and you know if you step there, it's going to split in two, because there's no safety standards back then. And you don't want to step there because it means your life, but your boss is telling you to get out there because they got a 2-year window to get this baby done. I don't think so. None of this was done in a rush. None of it. Everything meets perfectly. Absolutely perfectly. Let's zoom a little closer here. You can see a bit of a gargoyle head that's probably coming straight out at us, maybe. Yeah, I see you there, Jamie. Nobody can even come close to what was going on 100 years ago, and we are talking literally 100 years ago now. So let me show you some more of this one before we make that call too soon. There it is from the ground up, early on. 40 stories. So they decided 3 mini domes. I mean, if you put it in perspective of the dirigibles and the air travel, these look almost like, there's 4 places to dock here, possibly. Why are these areas open? Is that so you can get through there? Questions. I mean, it's interesting questions. Not questions I ever thought I'd be asking before I got into this research, but nothing I ever really considered as possible. We can see the ornate detailing. This one really gets me, just the level of detail. Way up high, too. Why are you doing it so way up high like that? Even here, I don't know what this is. This in the foreground, they threw one of these in at the top of the building. You gotta love it. And then this is a close-up of the rectangular portion. They put these things on. And then this between the windows. Is it just to puff out the chest? 2 floors a month, Eric says. Thank you. Yeah. 2 floors, finishing included. Oh, here's a good one. Greg Applegren. Thanks for this comment. As a younger man, I pulled flatbed trailers, semi-trucks. 80,000 pounds of brick or blocks fills the trailer up about 2/3. Yeah, because they're so dense, right? You can just imagine how much they would have had to ship in to build these things. Why do you think we build with light materials now? And the narrative doesn't stand a chance. Here we go. Right at the very top here. Oh, this is actually one of the mini domes. Soak that in, folks. Really take that in. I'm going to zoom slowly. Don't forget the tarp over the opening. I like how they put the tarp over the opening. Mooring sites for sure. Yeah. Beautiful. It's truly incredible. You won't find anything in Europe any more elaborate or ornate than this, right? So let's not sell ourselves short here in North America as it comes to architecture, folks, at all. Plus, this is on a 40-story building, not to mention. It is insane, Scott. It is insane. Absolutely. I don't understand why this wasn't in. This hasn't been featured, you know, on. I don't know. I don't even know what to. Something that everyone should know about is what I'm trying to say. Something that everyone should know about. Yeah, I see a few construction workers in the chat. Yeah, I'm a carpenter myself, and that's what actually got me into this research, because I laugh, and I've shown other people in the trade as well a lot of these pictures, and they're not really into the research itself, but they laugh too because I tell them, "Oh, this was built in 2 years," and we have a good chuckle. All right, some more of the detail on this beautiful building. Okay, there's the top again. Do I have any of the inside? I don't think I do, and I guarantee I looked. So they're not showing us the interior of this building. A little bit more from the street. We have the copper lights here. Yeah, prefab from heaven, right? I think we fell. We fell from a higher state of being, folks. I think there was much more going on. Look at the detail here. Look at this. Look at that. And some people, the detractors, will say that's easy. Those are all just come prefab like that, and you just stack them together. And anyone who says that's easy has not done that kind of work, or just can't empathize with the difficulty of the task. And why do you have to put this in the middle? Really? I think it's Mind Unveiled does some good videos on the symbolism in a lot of this old architecture. I think it's yeah. Anyway, it's interesting stuff. So much to know. I've got a comment here about my Evansville video. No problem. I actually had that file on my computer for a long time, and it was one of those cities I knew had to be made into a video because I'd never heard of Evansville as far as architecture goes. But there's so many places that surprised me in this research. Yes, Misnomer says Jared Boosters too. Yeah, Jared Boosters does a lot of heavy lifting, digs really deep into this stuff. Those are great channels, right? I'm really into Aurelian's channel right now. I've had a few chats with him, Lucius Aurelian. He's very open-minded. Uses the Socratic method a lot. You know, he doesn't come to any conclusions. Unlike me, I come to conclusions sometimes and stick my foot in it. But he's doing some good work over there too. All right, this is the clock by the street level. Close up again. Let's look at the material itself. And is that molded tin, shaped tin right here? This is on that clock. What constitutes that? If you were to have to rebuild this, I mean, modern day we have a lot of machinery and equipment that could probably do it, but this is 100 years ago. So I don't know. It's questions that need answering, right? Chicago. Should we do one more Chicago? Let's do one more Chicago. The Stevens Hotel. I'm going to do one more Chicago. Then we'll move on. I haven't done a video on Chicago yet because it's so vast. I could do a video series of probably 10, an hour long, and still not cover everything that you can find out of Chicago. It's unbelievable. Yeah, Tartarian Prog Rocker, great comment. If you work with tools for a living, you see the absurdity of the narrative. If anyone has ever worked on a work site that's even a couple stories up in the air too, the stress level, the weather changes as you move up. Like I said, the Windy City, they're building these in the Windy. How many months of the year were they able to work on these structures? These are all questions that we just need to apply logic, and then we can just discard the false historical narrative. We don't have to come to a conclusion because we don't know. Yeah, that's a good point too, Mudflood Philly. Where are all the architects to tell us we're crazy? Well, I have Matthew over at Marvelous Old World, and he's an architect, and he's on board. He sees the ridiculousness of the narrative. It's really, I think it's just ego in the way of a lot of people. Like, it's your life's work. It's difficult, right? Lucius is a cool cat. He sure is. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna quickly get into this. They're called the Stevens Hotel. Here's a construction photo for you guys. These are like the clinchers. They leave us with one photo and they throw a couple sticks in the air, call them cranes, and give us nothing but haze, and say, see, they built it at that time, and that's all we're given. Yeah, I like this comment too, Jason. The scenes are poetry in sculpture form. They convey deep meaning. This symbolism was as common as English is now. They are affirmations. Popcorn for the soul. Well, I'm going to use that one. Popcorn for the soul. I like it. Sure is. Here, let me get to a finished. Okay, really soak this into. Here's the Stevens Hotel, which we're going to be looking at. And you can see all along the stretch here. Old World Chicago. Chalaga. Really beautiful, isn't it? You can just smell the old world coming off of that stretch. But this is massive. This is like got fins, all these bumps out, bumps in. So every room gets full light. Is that what that's about? And there's got to be some energetics to that as well. Oh, thanks, Frankie. You know what? You're right. Of course they're not cranes. Just hoist. They don't have much mechanical advantage, right? You're right. But that's what they were using to build these babies. Okay, let's look a little closer at this hotel. Still stands today. It's a Hilton now. Hilton has bought it. You can see a little bit of the ornate detailing going on the corner there. Yeah, it is a massive, massive hotel. This is just a section. Did I give the year? I didn't give you the year. Hey, would you know? 1927. Opened in 1927, guys. So all these buildings I've just shown you were being built at the same time. Makes sense. They're probably sharing materials and tradespeople. I mean, at the time, you could have probably hopped onto any work site and got a job if that's the case, right? Another one of those narratives that only give us the day it opened. Opened in 1920. Why don't they tell us when they began work on it? Right? Okay, let me keep going. More of the interior of the Stevens Hotel. There you go. There's something about this face too, right? This has a bit of a different feel, for sure. Can you see the ceiling? Massive columns. 1927, guys. Capone's doing his thing, right? Elliot Ness is chasing Capone through this building. Can't catch him yet, though. What a silly narrative. Silly. History is a lie, folks. A lie agreed upon. Not by us, though. Not by us. Yeah. There's a look at the hotel from ground level. You can see the columns built into the architecture. I like how it turns to brick. You have this facade down here, and then it goes to brick, and you just have a little bit of detail. A little closer look at the interior detailing. Very, very difficult to accomplish this curve right here. This looks like a ceiling. And then who's doing the paintings? I see you, New World Over. Please do Balboa. in San Diego. Yeah, I know of it. I know it. I've looked into it before. I'll keep it in mind. Yeah, I think this is the same room there. This must be like the ballroom or one of the ballrooms in that Stevens Hotel. Yeah, who's doing those paintings in Chicago in the 20s? I don't think so. Okay, let's move off of Chicago. I'm going to open up a file and see. Okay, I'm gonna name. You want to go off continent? What do you think? I could go with. Let's try. Want to go to Melbourne for a second? Coffee Palace in Melbourne. Let's do that. Have you ever heard? Anyone ever heard of this structure? Melbourne, Australia. Coffee Palace. Because you gotta have coffee, right? I think there's 2 coffee palaces in Melbourne, Australia. I think I did a video on Melbourne. It's a while back, but Australia's got a lot to offer as well. Let's see if I can get a timeline on this one. Here we go. Okay, let's see here. This is the Federal Coffee Palace in Melbourne, Australia. Built in 1888. It was the largest and grandest coffee palace ever built. Well, yeah. How many coffee palaces do you know that look like that? It was demolished in 1973. There's a quick look at the interior. No, not a coffee house, Pamadi. It's a coffee palace. Coffee palace. Kathy asks, yeah, did all the prisoners build it? Well, they must have been skilled, those prisoners, right? I'm sure they've thrown that into the narrative. Those prisoners were masterful at carving, I guess, and gilding, whatever it might be. There it is in color. 70, so 73 it was demolished. Man, I hope there was an uproar when this thing was torn down. And there we can see that inner area in color. Oh, Jamie, I see. No, there was no uproar. Is that what you're saying, Jamie? I like this. What's a coffee palace? I gotta light up a smoke here. I'll try and slow down. Maybe I'm going too fast here. I'm always trying to keep the viewer interested and entertained, but maybe the pictures do speak for themselves. Yeah, Jamie, Brisbane. I have a file in Brisbane too, actually. I've dug deep into Australia and then Tasmania as well. All right, Coffee Palace. Really amazing. This is actually one of the early buildings I came across that really got me into this field of research. It's like it just doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. Oh, here we go. I love this term, conspiracy theorist. I actually see it come up on some of my videos, and people come across my work that aren't ready for the conspiracy theory angle, they call it. Like, do people realize it's 2023 and there's no such thing as conspiracy theories anymore? It's all just conspiracy fact. Everything seems to just keep coming true, folks. Are you not aware that the veil is lifting? Get with the program and join the party, folks, if you're not there yet. Okay, I'm gonna jump around again here. I've got pull another one out of my file. We're going to go. Let's go to India. Here we go. This is the Taj Mahal Palace. No, not the Taj Mahal. The Taj Mahal Palace in Mumbai, India. Now, Mumbai has some things that will leave you speechless as well. I'm not even going to look this one up. I'm just going to tell you it's probably a British colonialism narrative. They're going to say it's late 1800s. I'll just leave it at that. I'm just going to show you some of the visuals here. Yeah, Randy, it really is an awesome time to be alive. I agree. With all the, you know, I think we're being given a choice to focus on the negative or the positive right now, and you can get sucked in by the negative, or you can just divert your attention away from it and become a positive, and then we all just sort of become nodes of light that eventually drowns it out, I think. And look at the similarities too. Remember, this is in India, right? I showed you the jewel tower, the jewelry tower in Chicago. You can call me Humphrey, Miss Nowhere. Let me show you. Okay, interior. A little bit of an interior shot of this structure in India. So I think a lot about colonialism, which is under attack right now, and rightly so in many ways. Not just British colonialism, but the Spanish, the French, the Dutch, German to a lesser extent, I think. But colonialism is the cover, I think. It's the digging out of the old world. And this is where these British royal families were sending out their emissaries to reclaim the realm after the cataclysm. I think it's quite clear, actually, at this point. Yeah, it is definitely the Great Awakening. I wouldn't want to sleep through the Great Awakening, guys. Too much to see. It's like driving through the Canadian Rockies. You don't want to fall asleep if you've never been through it. You got to keep your eyes wide open and enjoy it. Okay, let me show you a bit more of this. Not a lot from the interior. This is down below. Notice the similarities with the fixtures. Of course, they'll say it's that colonialism thing, but we know it's what we're looking at is old world architecture. And they must have had so the narrative assumes that it doesn't matter who does the actual building. It just matters who does the designing, who's the brains behind it. That's one of my major beefs with the historical narrative, because I am a carpenter and I take personal offense to that. You still have to have skill in the hand of the builder. And in this case, not just the foreman of a crew. The skill has to be in everyone's hands to pull this type of thing off. Like, I've been on jobs, again, in the high-end jobs, where every person on the job has to have many, many years of skill to be performing the duties to pull off the level of precision that's needed. And if there's anyone who's an apprentice or just getting started, they're usually on the broom or cleaning up most of the time at those higher level jobs. Oh, the Queen Victoria building in Sydney, Jamie. I might have to hop over to it because I do have that. And that's definitely worth a look. Okay, let's do that right now. Okay, down to Sydney, Australia. The Queen Victoria building. Here we go. And there's definitely something lizardy about Queen Victoria, I'll tell you. There's something not right about that whole part of the story. The world over Canada is always interesting too. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's so much to see. And I've shown this building in the past, but this is again one of the ones that hooked me into the research. The Queen Victoria building in Sydney. I'll pull up some info on it. Can you guys hear me typing? It's a loud keyboard. The Lizard Royals, totally. This was built in between 1893 and 1898. All right, let's take a look at what this thing has to offer. I don't know if they're trying to tell us this is under construction here. Construction photo, or I really don't know. You can see how difficult it is for them to even set this apparatus up here, right? The amount of false work, if you don't know what false work is, scaffolding is false work, right? Anything you have to set up temporarily to complete a task is false work, and oftentimes in very difficult situations, the false work takes more than the actual task itself. Here, I'll take a look at the chat here. What's up, Eric? Thanks for being here. Guys, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. See if we can push this out further. Channel just hit 8,000 subs. It's been growing quite a bit the last 2 months. So I'm hoping to hit 10K here before the summer's out. It'd be cool. My kids say I get some sort of silver play button or something, but I don't know. I don't know if that's true or what that means. But I'd certainly love sharing the content and the interaction I get from you guys who seem to be seeing what I'm seeing as well. And now we get to the interior of this Queen Victoria building in Sydney, Australia. That's a good comment, Scott. Hey, Scott. How would university history graduates feel if they knew about this? Well, that's the defensiveness, right? Can you imagine if you're just coming off of 8 years or 20 years in the field of research, and all of a sudden there's these bunch of idiots online that are questioning the narrative? That's what we're dealing with, right? The contest narrative is funny too. Yeah, they just explain that away, and then they have these contests, and somebody wins the contest and ends up looking like the same as so many other buildings, especially like in American state capitals. The American state capitals are like absolutely ridiculous, like this building here. Look at that statue. I think I have a better one of that. Here, maybe. No, this is a different statue. There's the queen lizard right there. No love for that creature, I tell ya. Scourge on humanity. I don't know if I'm riding the line here with the YouTube, whatever, but I'm gonna put a Rumble mirror channel, I think, soon. I'm gonna try and get that figured out so I can loosen my lips a bit in some cases. Hey, Jason. Enjoying your comments lately too on the channel. Yeah. I should say too, if anybody ever wants to hop on my channel and do a live just like I'm doing here, you don't have to show your face, or you could. If you put together a file of some place you want to share and you want me to throw it out to the people that watch my stuff, I'm open to it. I'm game, right? So keep that in mind as well if you feel like you have something you want to get out there. I'm still in the Queen Victoria building in Sydney, Australia. Those Irish convicts knew what they were doing. there she is again. She's letting you know that she's in charge. And her granddaughter, what, just died last year, right? I think that would be her granddaughter. Hijackers of the blood of the crown, eh? That bloodline hijacked the crown. All right, let's see a few more of this spectacular structure. Who's in the chat from Jamie? Have you been to this building, Jamie Griffin? I know you said you were from down there. Yeah, Frankie, her face has a look of some of the nuns I had as teachers growing up in Catholic school. You know, a really serious sourpuss look, angry but serious and unimpressed. That's what it reminds me of. Yeah, this is beautiful structure. Awe-inspiring stuff, really, isn't it? Oh, I saw that one. There's the statue I was trying to get earlier on. Look at this. Look at these. Hey, Mark. Oh, our melted reality. Yeah, thanks for being here. Yeah, we gotta get a chat going, you and I. We'll have to set that up sometime soon. Go over and check out Mark's channel on our melted reality. If you're into the cataclysm end of this and you're interested to see, like, it's under your feet everywhere you go. Mark does a lot of boots on the ground, and what you would think is just nature, until you look a little closer and peel back a leaf or two, and then you find that you have metal and brick and fried brick everywhere. It really is amazing. It is not the place we were told it was, to be sure. All right, that was the Queen Victoria building in Sydney, Australia, built in, again, let's say 1893 to 1898, a 5-year window to get that done in the 1800s. Okay, I'm going to take you to Italy now, to Venice. I haven't really hit much of that area. I'll give you just sort of a brief overview, because it's really 3 different structures that we'll be talking about. This is the St. Mark's Basilica. St. Mark's Basilica. This one jumps out at me whenever I see it because of the tech on the top here. The balls in this pattern, they've been up there for a long time. There's old photos and they're on there as well. So, and apparently this was built, I mean, the narrative has it being sort of chipped away at over 300, 400, 500 years, but starting in 1300, somewhere in there. Eric said you've fed the pigeons of, yeah, it's famous, isn't it? The birds of St. Mark's, I believe. There you are. So this is the Basilica. This is the tower nearby. Here, let me get a picture of it standing right here. So they're telling us that this was rebuilt in early 1900s, 1902. This tower here, and they're also showing us an action. Is this an action shot of a demolition? Can you guys see the halo around the top of this? Can you see that? Look, that's supposed to be. Looks like it's supposed to be an action shot of them demolishing that. Amazing. It's a Masonic hue. Yes, yes, it is. That's a good one, Frankie. We need to actually have a little old world dictionary of phrases. And there's the rubble, apparently, we're told. Yeah, Mark. Vanilla skied, right? Everything's vanilla skied. Yeah, and you can see it on this one you can actually see it. Look at, did somebody draw in fake rocks on the side here? This is like some sort of, action shot or somebody depicting the blowing up of it. It looks like it's supposed to be a photograph. Yeah. They're saying that this was rebuilt in the early 1900s. Again, I'm calling bullshit. This has been standing for a long time. That what we just saw is just a whole bunch of fakery. Because we know that these secretive organizations are everywhere, underlying everything in our cultures. Take a look at this. You're saying that they rebuilt this and put all this back together 120 years ago? There's a lot of weathering on that spindle there. Baluster, whatever you want to call it. I don't know why that they have to make that a part of the narrative. Seems strange. Can you see here? Looking like you have a bit of a baby with a lion's head. Amazing, isn't it? We'll stay on this this area for a while because there's a lot to see. If you've been here, you guys are lucky. Whoever's been here, you're lucky to have witnessed these and taken these things in real life. I can't imagine. Well, I can. I want to take my kids there and my wife. I'd love to, but one of these days. Let's look at. So we're jumping back to the basilica, the interior of the basilica. Okay, this is where all the domes were with the tech on top. Now this is a bit plain. Not very ornate. This is a bit of a plain interior as far as old world goes. Right? Oh boy. I always thought it was just the Sistine Chapel that got the painting. Turns out everywhere had a painting. And look at, they have a zodiac clock here. Interesting. Let's look at a few more. All right, so there we can see the tower and then the basilica back there. And this as well. Oh man, I think the Doge Palace, this one's called. The Doge Palace. We're going to look at a little bit of that as well. But really everywhere here. A lot of melt in Italy, Europe as well. When you dig into that research, you find buildings like this melted into cliff sides. It's just stunning. Here's the front entry of St. Mark's. Here's a question. Anyone want to answer this one? I can't say I have the answer. I have some ideas. Many of them they got rid of because it brings the narrative together too easily. We don't have to dig very hard to find. Well, we still don't have to dig that hard, but it's quite obvious. You start asking questions. There's some structures I've come across that they had to tear some of them down because they just don't fit. Look up here too. Look at the ornate statue work, and this stuff stands the test of time. It's not breaking off over the years. Like, look at it, it's all intact. I don't know if we have a material that can do that. Usually we do anything out of sort of cements and concrete mixes, and often we have all sorts of add mixtures or stiffeners and hardeners, and there's all sorts of things that help us. But even then, I think it's just, I don't know how these things have stayed together for so long. It's just jaw-dropping. Again, the interior of the basilica here, every square inch painted. You look at the columns in the foreground here. This reminded me of Albany. This reminded me of the City Hall in Albany. Right here. And many other places, but that's what comes to mind. Yeah. Of course, you have the Carillon, the bell tower. However many tons that thing weighed. And I'm sure many of you are aware of the narrative of the melting of all the bells during the wars for steel. Right? They were There was, I think I remember my nana growing up talking about everyone was donating all scrap steel. Can you imagine all the old world that was thrown out in those steel drives or metal drives or whatever it might be? That was a destroying of the old world in real time in many different ways. World War II to me is the pivot event of our reality, the pivotal event of our reality in many ways. Oh, I'm not sure what this is supposed to mean. Great job. Looks like I've been initiated. I love that too. You get commenters that think, "Oh yeah, you're just trying to deceive people." And I call that black pilled. People that think that there's no possible way that anyone could be doing something for good or for without any sort of malevolent intention. Spit out the black pill, folks. Doesn't taste very good anyway. At least bitter taste in your mouth. It leaves you alone and unhappy. Okay. We're still on. I can't get enough of this one. This is just. There again, you have the tech. Beautiful. Beautiful. So much to look at. So much for the eye to take in. Oh, I gotta get this one on there. They must have had a Bob Ross master mason carving a happy mouse in the castle stonework. Have you heard of the cathedral in the UK that they carve a little mouse into all the woodwork? I can't remember the name of it, but this was what rings a bell from that comment. Yeah, Mike, the bells and the organs for sure. Frequency, right? Frequency. Everything is frequency and vibration. Look at this one. This is another room in the basilica there. Painting. Really? Wasn't Michelangelo? Was it? Maybe. I think that'd be part of the Wikipedia write-up, though. All right, this is over at the Doge Palace, right next door. All these three structures are neighbors. And then you can see again the ornate detailing of the ceiling as you go up the stairs. Something else. Something else. For sure. Take a look at the spiral stairs going up the tower. This is back to the tower now. Krusty, this is an interesting comment. Krusty Dribblins. What if the paintings come alive with enough frequency? Imagine that, eh? The angels come down, step out of their paintings, and say, "You guys finally passed the test. You raised your vibration high enough. You passed the test." You know, so a lot of people in this research look at, we're in the little season, right, where Satan has his day. 100 years have already happened. Some of the people that get into the more Christian stuff, and it's all really interesting. And I think there's grains of truth in everything, right? It's definitely been a bit of a horror show in this realm for the last century, at least. Anything beyond that, I don't think we can really put our thumbs on as far as what exactly had happened. But all right. I'll just leave this one there. I won't say the word. YouTube's probably watching for it, but I have a few files from a few locations here, but I might leave it alone for a while just because of that sensitivity. Yeah. I have a Dijon, France coming, and I have a Birmingham, UK coming for you guys in the next week or so, along with some of my North American adventures, of course. Going to be releasing Tulsa, Oklahoma tomorrow. Okay. Let me just get... Okay, let's switch gears here. We're going to go over to... Let's do a couple more. I was going to do the plumber building in Rochester. Maybe I will anyway. Aurelian touched on this one in his video this morning, Lucius Aurelian. But I'll show you visuals I got for this one. This is the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, also known as the plumber building. They live sunglasses. Well, make sure you check out my Tulsa video and let me know if I need to clean up any of the loose ends, tie up any loose ends. I get that sometimes from locals. They like to tell me, no, that building's there and that one's there and it's called that, and that's great. Because I'm no expert on these locations, guys. I just trying to bring you the visuals. So if you can add anything to help clear up the story or add a little bit more to the story, I always appreciate it. Let's look at the plumber building in Rochester, Minnesota. So this is Art Deco styling, right? Opened in 1928. There's that year again. This is going on. Chicago's busy as heck. Rochester, Minnesota's got this thing going up, right? The 20s and 30s, it was all part of the old world. I wonder if they keep changing the narrative over time. I wonder if you looked into the history of the Mayo building 30 years ago, if anyone has a book or anything like that. That would be interesting to know if they have the build date as a different date than they do now, because I think they're changing history as we go forward in time. I like your comment there, Eric. I'll throw that one up. That's pretty funny. Yeah, the Cowboys built these. Right? Yeah. So this is Art Deco styling in Minnesota, Rochester, Minnesota. And here, let's just move let's go right into the interior. Opened in 1928. Again, that's all they're telling us. Just built 1928. That's all I'm seeing on Wikipedia. Not enough information, Wikipedia, wherever you're getting your information from. So it just doesn't cut the mustard. So 1928, and all of this, again, you're seeing the same visuals repeat. Thanks for shooting in, Jimmy. You take care. There, Frankie, I used one of your sayings if you're still there. All right. This is the Mayo Clinic in Rochester. Let's get a close up on some of this stuff. No, is that a griffin again? What is that? Gargoyle, some sort. Interesting stuff, right? 1928. Why do they feel inclined to build this way? The interiors are key, though, right? This is the elevator lobby. Wikipedia, for sure, no question. If you know anyone that uses Wikipedia as a trustworthy source, we use it, but not as a trustworthy source. In this, we use it to laugh at them, really. Yeah. The Rochester Mayo Clinic, or the plumber building here. There's that gargoyle a little closer up. And then looks like looking like a caduceus there, snake. Sinister. Interesting. Also features a massive copper door. I'm gonna see if I can find it in the write-up here. £4,000 ornamental bronze doors. They nearly always stand open, they tell us. And here's a great comment. What if airship travel then was more like car travel is today? Yeah, it's a good point. Like, what if, families owned their own little airship, and you could just, take it wherever you needed to go, and there were different sizes and levels. You can go on a trip as a group, Like a dock in many places along the way. I don't think it's complete fiction whatsoever. And I did a video on H.G. Wells and his fiction. I called it The War for the Worlds. It's from last summer, I think, but it's pretty in-depth, the theory that I put together in there. And pretty out there, I suppose you could say. But what I think H.G. Wells' purpose was to reset the narrative and to fictionalize much of what was once fact. Yeah, Akron, I think I've seen that one already. Yeah, have a great night, Eric. Thanks for joining on this. Yeah, there's much more to that airship narrative. Here's the gargoyle one more time. The problem is I don't know how much deeper we can take it because so much of it has been erased, right? We can speculate all we want, but yeah, just imagine if we had half this information as a kid. Probably why I was daydreaming in indoctrinated school. Well, of course, right? They're taking us away from our imagination centers. I mean, all of you out there that are joining me here and probably watching, kudos to you for getting in touch with your imagination as an adult. So many people, I think, are unable to do that, you know? So, okay, how are we looking here? Let's see what else I have in the file. I'll do maybe a couple more buildings and then I'll cut it off. I won't keep you guys. But I do thank you for joining me. I do want to share this one, the Dresden Power Station. And some of you might be familiar with it, but I want to get it out on video so people can see the visual. Where is it? Did it disappear? There it is. This is a background right now on the video. The background of the background, you can see it there, sort of mirrored. Here's a great comment too. Welcome, Nico from Galveston. And I like this comment too, Martin, or Mantis, sorry. Have all the information stored away for the ones that are in on it. It's possible to reclaim the knowledge. Yeah, I think there's much hidden knowledge. I think you can see how this information would have been an advantage at a consciousness level in our society. Jamie's asking if I haven't read The Open Conspiracy, but I'm aware of it. Like, he's got all sorts of books that are not hiding the intent, the plan, really, of these nefarious folk, let's say. Deep Blue, welcome. Good to have you here. We're just we're a bunch of conspiracy theorists just theorizing. We're way out there in crazy land, as some people like to think. But I'll tell you what, right now normal is crazier than anything that we could make up. So the switch is being flipped, I think. Okay, I'm going to show you a couple of these. So this is the old power station in Dresden. The tower was destroyed before the war, I believe. And then I think maybe well before the war, actually. You can see actually the stairs spiraling up the tower. Pretty amazing. There's a photograph of it. This one's a jaw dropper, guys. I really think it's really amazing. Look at these. That's tech. Would there be no other reason for that? Decoration, really? Black Tower, is that a Stephen King movie, New World? Or a Stephen King novel that they turned into a movie? Look at this structure, guys. Come on. Yeah, Rupus nigra. That's exactly. That's the center of our realm. I think we're catching on. I really think we're catching on. Yeah. Just a little bit of Dresden. Let me show you a little bit more of Dresden. This place was firebombed into oblivion by the Allies during World War II. Horror stories coming out. I think it was, is it called Hellstorm? There's a documentary series made about the bombing of Dresden, where Dresden was seen as like a refuge for artists and people that were, it was not a military target, but then it was bombed into oblivion in at the end of World War II. And you can probably tell why. Really starting to come to understand that what was going on was the willful, intentional destruction of the old world evidence. This is the power station in Dresden. The world's asking. Let me go back to it. Here's a postcard of it. This, if you speak German, it's called this Fernheiswerk. How did I do? Anyone? The power station, they called it. Sure is, isn't it? Jeez. Dresden. Let's look at a little bit more Dresden. Take a look at that. Feels like Gondor, Lord of the Rings again, right? What is a real photo? They Live Sunglasses asks. Oh, I think something that hasn't been messed with, hasn't been half drawn in or anything like that. That's what I'm calling it anyway. Here's an entry gate in Dresden. Again, a bit more of Dresden, just to give you a sense of what they destroyed there. And you can see the scorching here, right? Apparently the place burned. Yeah, Brett, they bombed the shit out of this place. Or we, I guess, collectively, you could say, as allies, right? Yeah, that one I really wanted to get out there. Another one I wanted to share is the Portsmouth Guildhall. Another one that was a victim of bombing, we are told, although I don't know. I'm starting to wonder now about these narratives, these buildings that survived but were magically rebuilt after some of these wars. Here's a comment in World War I. We can segue what I'm going to say with this comment. I did a video on the, is it Ypres Cloth Hall, that supposedly was bombed into oblivion in World War I and then rebuilt subsequently over the next 3 or 4 decades. But the video basically portrays that it looks like that didn't happen, and it looks like the original structure. So I don't know. I wonder often about these buildings, and we're going to see that here with this Portsmouth Guildhall building as well. Here, let's take another closer look. Thoughts on the moon? You're asking me what I think of the moon? What is it? I don't know. Is it a burnt out sun? Sometimes I think that's maybe what it is. Maybe it had a different kind of light. I don't know. Is it a holographic projection? Is it plasma? Did we land on it? Did we land on it? Did Nixon have a phone call with the astronauts from the White House? Plasma light? Yeah, maybe. It's all up for grabs. I know what it's not. I know it's not what they're telling us it is. Yeah, the old knock it down and rebuild it trick. I think those stories are to solidify that there's no mystery and that we can easily rebuild these. I think that's where those come from. So this is the Guildhall in Portsmouth. Let me just pull the information up on that. Oh, did he? Nixon had 6G back in '72. That's probably how he got that phone call through. That makes sense, actually. All right, Portsmouth Guildhall. Let's feature this one. Constructed in 1890, heavily damaged by bombing during the Second World War, largely rebuilt during the 50s, of which I could find no visual evidence. That's good to know, Mark. I appreciate that. Sometimes I wonder if the postcards don't help, or it would be better to get photographs. Sometimes I work really hard to find what we might call a photograph, but it's good to know that the postcards serve very similar purpose visually. Appreciate that. Okay. The Portsmouth Guildhall. You noticing some familiar architecture here, guys? They all look like it could be anywhere, really. They all look very similar, and at the same time very unique, right? Look at this whole situation up here. Amazing, beautiful structure. Yeah, this is a good comment too. Maybe there was photography for hundreds of years. I think there's a lot of technology that was repurposed. That all the timelines have been skewed. I think in microcosm, macrocosm, everything is being distorted over as time progresses. Time gets distorted. History continues to get distorted. Let me show you a bit more. So Portsmouth, I think it was in the south of the UK. Mike saying found Lucius through me. Yeah, we had a couple good chats. I have to try that again. I was thinking I'm going to get in touch with him and say let's set a timer and let's just go on a couple buildings, and then we'll just go try to keep them short and sweet, and then throw them out there. I'll try that. He's a busy guy. He makes a lot of videos, and I've been doing quite a few lately too. So this is what gets me, right? We're seeing this photograph of, I don't know, construction photo or deconstruction photo. So we have a photograph of this stage of the operation, but we don't have anything of the build that I could find. The rebuild. This is the reopening, apparently, after they rebuilt it, after the damage of World War II. Yeah, the Midwest. I love the Midwest too. It's the gift that keeps on giving. It doesn't even matter how big the town I check out is. It's just there's so much there. Let's see. You're wondering about autodidactic Campbell? I like Campbell. Campbell got me into a lot of this stuff. His observations, I think he's a pretty open-minded guy. Yeah, to each his own, I suppose. Everyone's got their own angle they prefer. My approach is, I guess, is different than Aurelian's, and may not like both. And yeah, there's lots. Thankfully, there's more and more people getting into it and sharing what they're observing. See, there's the old one. So they did decapitate this one as well, and that's what I think happened. Here's the new top, right? And there's the old top. I've been highlighting this in my recent videos as well. The decapitation. Here's a gathering place for the old guild hall. Man, I was just looking through Birmingham, England. There's some amazing stuff there, guys. It's everywhere. All you have to do is throw the dart at the map, find a location, and it's just jaw-dropping everywhere you look. Check out the pipe organ in the guild hall in Portsmouth. Massive pipe organ in the guild hall. Yeah, exactly right, Mark. The rebuild narrative is, and I did get people offended when I questioned the bombing of that cloth hall in Belgium on my one video. It's like, because the war is very people are very emotionally tied to war, right? That's what war does to us. It sort of breaks us, and it's programming, right? Trauma-based programming, war. And I think that's what we're dealing with at that level as well. So you question a part of a narrative that people have been so attached to their whole lives. Maybe a grandpa fought in the war and they've been an aficionado for years, memorabilia collector. You know, you're really challenging them on their thought paradigm, the world that they've created around them. Okay, so this is the Guildhall in Portsmouth in the UK, built in 1890. Destroyed, World War II, rebuilt in the 50s by English architect Ernest Barry Weather, if you must know. Let's see. This is an interesting comment. This community fights a lot and it can be healthy until it gets ugly. Then it self-degrades itself. Well, I think the infighting thing is sort of natural. I think the ego's getting in the way too. I think if we get to a point where we put ourselves above the research and the subject matter, that maybe we can fall victim to our own egos, which I'll do my best not to. If, you know, as I see my subs climb and all of a sudden, oh wow, look at all these people watching my videos, I'm going to feature me in this video. Well, maybe I'm gonna do my best to stay away from that. And you guys let me know, keep me down to earth if it goes that way. I'm just a dude in my basement next to my furnace making videos, right? I sneak away when I can to make a video, but I've got 3 kids and got my job, and I found this, what I call to be my truth, and I just felt moved to share it, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. There's certainly no other ulterior motive. Okay, I'm going to go 2 more, and then I'm going to cut it off. I've got the St. Pancras Hotel and Station in London, England. Then we're going to finish with the Fox Theatre in St. Louis. Okay. And yeah, if you're enjoying this live chat, let me know, and I'll try to do more of them. It is fun to interact with you guys in real time. The comments are great too on the videos, but real time's cool. And again, if there's anything you really want me to take a look at, throw it in the comments. But if you really want my attention, email me, and I'll definitely zone in on that location, and I could probably get a video out on that. So my email is on the YouTube page. So yeah, this is the St. Pancras Hotel and Station in London. Let's take a closer look. Let's get you some details. All right. Okay, station opened in 1868. That's going pretty far back, but in the London narrative, it makes sense, right? I don't have a start date. This gets, again, very hazy. So let's say 1868. Thanks, Kathy. I always love it when you chime in too. You've been with me for a while, so I appreciate the input as always. All right, St. Pancras. Wow, you're full of questions tonight, New World. Thoughts on plasma donations? You talk about blood plasma? I think I know where you're going with this one, and we're probably thinking the same thing. Let's leave it at that. Okay, St. Pancras Station. I'm getting distracted with the thread here, guys, which is good. I'm trying to keep the visuals moving too. Maybe am I moving too fast through this? Actually, let me know. Or is this the pace okay? Is this working for you guys? I can try to refine my live interaction for you. Well, thank you, CH. I appreciate that. Check this, guys. Come on, check this out. This is like the ultimate gingerbread situation here. St. Pancras, 1868, London, St. Pancras Station. All right, maybe I'll keep going. New World says, or Mike Schmidt says don't stop. So why is the clock so high up? Wait till I get to the interior on this one, guys. Just wait. Some more of the exterior. I'm kind of teasing you by not showing you the interior, that's for sure. More of the exterior. Moorish, good. Breadsea. Moorish architecture. Lemuria. Michelle Gibson's work. Oh, I got to adjust this comment here. The chief. I don't know. What do you think? Is that what I am? Guys, spit out the black belt, okay? Nobody's here to deceive anybody. Just sharing pictures and having a conversation. Not everything is as ugly as we assume that to be sometimes. Okay, let's look at some of the interior on this one. All right, St. Pancras Station. This is the ladies' smoking room. I love it. This is where the ladies would go to have a cigarette. That just motivated me to light up my own cigarette, actually. Yeah, I'm just looking at this comment. Keenum. We're going to check out the Fox Theater right after this. Okay. I'm teasing you. Let's look at the inside of St. Pancras Station. What do you think, guys? 1868. There's some stars on that ceiling. Like I think this architecture is like decalcifying our pineal glands. Let's say, like in speeding it along. If you know what I mean. You know, I think it's like the architecture is opening up our consciousness like a flower. Yeah, let's look at. This is the entryway to the actual train station behind. I should actually show you guys the entire complex here. I have one. There you can see the train station in behind there. This is an interesting comment too. Yeah, I think that's what it turned into, American Flying Hawk, but I don't think that's what it was originally intended for. And I think a major part of their deception is to make us think that that's the case. It makes us feel small and useless. But in fact, this was what we all once were, a part of this civilization. And I think I think we have to go back to that. That's a good one too. Architecture is frozen music. Some good comments here, guys. Trying to keep up here. All these old buildings were fitted with Tesla tech. Yeah, Tesla may even just be a placeholder, a way to dismiss old world technology, possibly. Maybe real, I don't know. But I've heard some people hypothesize on that. Yeah. Thanks for commenting on this, guys. Keep a comment if you feel so inspired. Right. The Pabst building's cool. Mike, that's cool. Okay, let's get back to ready for this one. There's this whole stair area of St. Pancras Station. Looks like Benji's asking, what's the most outlandish fact you've learned so far? I don't know if I've learned many facts. The word I'm not sure. I think the thing that blows me away and still gets me are things like an opulent opera house in small town Ohio, or those types of things that really don't fit our narrative. Or like Denver kind of blew me away when I did a video on Denver. I did not expect to see the buildings that I was seeing in places like Chicago and Cleveland in Denver. So as I look out west, yeah, it blows me away. This is the comment of the day. Thanks, Brighton. One of the best channels on YouTube. I appreciate that. I really do. And I'm not very tech savvy with the videos. I'm just a guy with the screen capture software and files that I collect online, and I just want to share them with you. So I appreciate that comment quite a bit. Right. Yeah. Let me show you some more of this. Here's that stair area again. Just incredible. Really, really incredible. All right, St. Pancras Station in London. Hotel and station. All right, as promised, let's get over to the Fox Theatre in St. Louis. St. Louis, fabulous Fox Theatre. Now, correct me if I'm wrong about any of this, because I could be, and it's possible there's other Fox Theatre pictures in this mix, because I know there are other Fox Theatres. I hope not, but it's possible. Built in the 20s, like all the Fox Theatres apparently built in the late 20s again, 28, 29. Incidentally, the one in San Francisco was torn down in 1963, just as spectacular as this baby. And obviously, according to our narrative, only lasted 30 plus years. All the fancy edited videos in there. I figured that too. Oh, I mean, maybe not BS, but it's just, I'm trying not to be clickbaity. I mean, some of my intros are like to hook you in. I've been working on my intros lately, but I just want to let the visuals and some of my ideas, I just want to share my ideas with the visuals. So. Interesting comment here. Are we witnessing the fall of the Fed in real time? Yeah, the Salt Lake City actually kind of blew me away too. The whole Mormon narrative there doesn't hold water at all. At all. Yeah, we weaponize our love for sure. Vapor missile, a wicked name. Positive waves, right? I think we're gaining superpowers as we become more in touch with our energy, folks. We can walk into a room and we can shift the energy of a room. I think we all have that ability. Okay, let's see. Oh, let me get into the Fox Theater. This is what I promised here. So, okay, here's the fabulous Fox Theater, looking like what, granite columns, very shiny, beautiful. Look at the decorations on the lower side of them, and look at the ceiling. Looking at 8-pointed stars there too, which is distinctly Tartarian, as far as Tartaria, the empire in the eastern reaches, let's say, in the Russian area. You see a lot of the 8-pointed star in that area. I haven't even done a video on any Russian location, and I've got files. So maybe I should hit up Russia too. There's quite a bit coming out of there. Jaw droppers again. Let's look a little more at the Fox Theater. We got a comment on John Levi. Shows how he believes the castles, cathedrals are huge machines. He talks about a reset where people did not know how to utilize all the tech left for them to discover world affairs. Yeah, I'm big fan of his work, seen all of his videos. I watch him weekly. Look forward to his videos with my morning coffee on Sundays. Real, true inspiration, John Levi. Can't say enough good about him. Really appreciate what he's done. Real groundbreaker in this field of research. So I'll leave it at that. Again, but I'm the type of person, I don't try to. I'll honor people, but I don't deify people. I think that's a good way to be too, right? We're all just people with our flaws, and we make mistakes. And sometimes when we look at a video and we see something that is inaccurate, it happens, right? It happens. We're all just. I've been called out on a few where I make a comment in my video, and what I'm seeing is not actually what was there. It happens. I'm trying to show a comment here, and it's getting a little fussy. Can you guys still hear me? Or did this freeze on me? Well, if you can still hear me, I can't. I'm just resetting my my screen here. Jumping back in. Are we back? Loud and proud? Second that motion? Can you guys see what I'm projecting? Not yet. That's new. That's never happened to me before. Just learning how this works too. One. All right. Are we back to where we were? I think so. Yeah, so that was a little freeze up. I had to actually go out and come back in to my StreamYard program. So we're on the Fox Theater. I think I'm gonna think about wrapping it up pretty quick here. Just about 2 hours in, but I'm glad that you guys are able to join me on this, and I really appreciate it. And the conversation is, these days it's hard to find people that are like-minded, especially when you get into this type of research. So I feel like really I'm sitting with a couple friends of mine just chatting about the old world, which is my favorite topic these days. Benji asks, tell us about the Grand Canyon. Lichtenberg fractals, fried circuit board Earth. That's where I'm leaning. I don't think it was the Colorado River over. Is it the Colorado River? Over millions of years. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Thank you, internet person. I love the name. Oh, hey Freya, just getting in. Well, now I feel like I gotta stay for a bit now. If you're gonna hang for a bit, I'm gonna stay. Are you gonna hang for a bit? Put the pressure on you. I did a chat with Freya a couple of weeks ago. Catastrophism Revisited. So the meltology narrative was the topic of the discussion, which I haven't really got into in this video. But and there's Mark too. Yeah, Blue Sky and Atlanta Fox Theater. Let's see. I don't know. Oh, Atlanta Fox. Yeah, this is the St. Louis. Yeah, interesting. Well, you know what? I was going to sign off, but I think I'm gonna throw a curveball, and I think we're gonna go, since I see a couple of melt heads in the crowd here. We're gonna go into a little bit of melted realm. Let me just pull up my my files and see what I can find. All right. Okay, got so many windows open. Now the pressure's on, eh? Melt. All right, here we go. All right, so segue. So some of you guys maybe have jumped into this research and you're digging the old world architecture, but there's another layer to the old world research that maybe you're not as into or comfortable with or haven't really seen much of. And some people call it meltology. Some people don't like calling it meltology. But basically, the way I see it is we're looking at the evidence of some sort of cataclysm, electrical charge, if you will. Some people think DO type weapons. Some people think one single event. Some people think a series of events. The fact is, it is all speculation. Yeah, Freya, I hear you. I think the mud flood is building Mount. I agree. I think that's what we're dealing with, and I think it's quite possible the entire realm is terraformed or was terraformed at some point, and even the seas as we know them and all these things, everything has been restructured or is the result of cataclysm. So let's have a look at some of the melt evidence, and I'll let you know where it is if I know. This is Mongolia, we're told. So Brighton says a lot of geopolymer. I don't know much about that. What can you expand on that? Geopolymer. I think Paul Cooks does a lot of research and he's big on the geopolymer. Is that like the concrete coating? Or is he resistant to the melt theory and he just thinks it's all geopolymer? Because I look at a structure like this and I can tell that it was just fucking liquefied. I don't see any other explanation for that. I don't think this was ever made to look like this, that's for sure. You know? I think it's an ingenious plan. What they did, the only way they could hide this event and what they did to us is by changing our concept of where we live and what has happened in the past. So they had to gain that stranglehold on education system and history and all of these things. This is Mongolia again. I think Gobi Desert place was just rocked as far as I'm concerned. Absolutely devastated. Yes, Freya did inspire an encore. She tends to do that. We've only met once, but yeah. Why not, right? I like these ones too. This is, it says Mongolia. I could be wrong. This could be Thailand. What we might recognize and what we might think at first glance, if we didn't see the red brick, we would think maybe we're looking at a stone structure, old world stone structure, but it's quite obvious here we have this coating. Maybe that's the geopolymer. I'm not up to speed on the geopolymer. I apologize for that. A coating of the red brick, which is very interesting. And you see this. I have pictures of this. Like I think this might be Thailand, but I know I have pictures of places like Cambodia and Thailand, where you're looking at red brick coated in this geopolymer. So yeah, it is a fun crowd for sure. Yeah, keep going. We'll keep going. My wife took the kids on a little trip, so it's just me and the mouse and the dog and cat somewhere around here. Oh, check this one out. This is in a place called Monsanto. I believe it's Portugal. Take a look at that. Let's have a look at this one. That's a good comment. That's a good comment. I like that too. Tracy, thank you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate the sub. It's an interesting subject matter if you're Friday, right? Freya? Totally, totally. All right. Montezuma Castle, this is for you Americans. A lot of you are in the States. And would you look at that? Montezuma's Castle. I don't know the state. If you know the state, let me know. If you have any more info on it, sure, throw it out there. To me, that looks like a pocket of survival. Scott. You know what, Scott? I bet you they have seen it. I bet you the truth is revealed when we pass from this place. And they've probably seen much more. Somewhere in France, I think. Montségur Castle in France. They decided to build this wall on this rock bluff and this wall on this nice flat surface over here. Or did they? Or are we looking at some sort of electrical charge that works its way up the wall and turns this into this? Really? Are you talking about this one, Freya, in the US? Definitely. Montezuma's Castle is somewhere in the States for sure. I'm just watching the chat there. Israel. Take a close look here, guys. I mean, this file that we're going through, and part of this file was the one I used to have our recorded chat, Freya. But I think this is the best I could find of my melt evidence. Take a look at the brickwork here. And then you can see there's an arch here that's deteriorated into the hillside, maybe. And then the stairs, you can see this here, like there's no defining line between what's man-made and what we might consider natural. You can see the brick here actually as well. This is in Israel. Mount Athos in Greece. This building's got chicken pox. Anyone want to explain this here? How does that happen? Are they just filling in the gaps? Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought he was along those lines. I'm sub to him, but I haven't checked out a lot of his work. I don't think it's a good idea to completely disregard anything. I think that puts us in a bit of a box. So I try not to be hardlined really against one thing or the other. I'm not a huge fan of the stumps, but I'm not saying it's not true. It's just not my thing. I don't feel it. I don't see it. Then again, I see something like, is it the Devil's Tower in the States? And I think, yeah, that kind of looks like a tree stump. So I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but I don't feel it. It's not a large part of what drives me in my research. So everybody seems to have areas where they're not as comfortable with, which is fine, right? We bring what we have to the table. We're having a potluck supper, and all you're good at is a potato salad. Bring your potato salad. Right? Hopefully you're good at smoking meat or something like that, though, if you're coming to my potluck supper. Yemen. Haid al-Jazil in Yemen. Now, what do we think? Did they just build here, or is this what was the remain, and this is just complete devastation? You can see buildings back here, too. Interesting comment. I've never heard of Black Mesa. Here, I'll put that up for people to see. Black Mesa near Espanola, New Mexico. Looks stumpy. I'll keep that one in mind. There was a theory a few years ago that the ancients grew rocks based on Peru and Bolivia sites. I wonder. Again, a lot of that possibly the result of cataclysm and the changing of the shape because of heat. Yeah, donkeys and carts. Yeah, is it Joachim? You've done a few lives with him, Mark, about this stuff, and man, his research is what hooked me into this stuff, to the red brick meltology. I love his no nonsense approach. He's not taking shit from anybody. I love it, and really opened my eyes to what we're seeing here with a lot of this stuff. Yeah, I see all this. Like it's like the electrical charge crept its way up the building, and it stopped at a certain point for some reason. Again in Greece. The Mount Arbel Fort. Where's the dividing line between man-made and what we call natural? Internet person says we need to speak to elders. We do. The only problem is elders have gone through the same erasing of history. So the problem with that is if we put all our stock in what the elders say, we're really just leaning on their perception of the past as well, right? And I think we're far enough down the line where there isn't much memory of what happened. Syria. You see the evidence, and it's everywhere. That's why this file, it just jumps around all over the place. Niger. This one is in Niger. It's in Africa. You can see, you can just make out what we would call a naturally constructed wall. And then below it, you can see all the openings. You can see how this was, I think it's quite obvious this was a complete structure at one point. Yeah, I get that. We can definitely appreciate the elders. But again, we have to remember, I think it's important to remember that everybody's gone through this process of having our memories wiped, basically. And I think we have to be careful that we're not remembering a false history because we're just regurgitating what we're being told is history, right? Yeah, Freya, I think you're right about that. That's seems to be. Of course, it gets only speculation. If we turn the clocks back, maybe it's completely different. But that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. Mid 1800s, resetting of the realm. World's fairs had a major part to play in all this, right? I love this one too. That'd be a good background, desktop background. Blake, are you asking me? Are you asking everybody? I'm from Prince George, British Columbia, Canada. About halfway up the province. So I say north, but really, you could still drive for another 2 days north before you got to the next. You got to Alaska, let's say. You still have to drive a while to get there. It's vast up here. You don't have much civilization. You have to drive about an hour before you reach the next town, usually, up here. My grandmother went to a normal school. Yeah, that's I did a video on the normal schools, Horace Mann, The Inheritors. Definitely worth checking out. I show a lot of the normal schools where we're teaching the teachers how to indoctrinate the new reality into the next generation. And this goes well with this comment here, Mike. Are we Cabbage Patch babies? It's very possible. It's very possible that a lot of these cultures have been fabricated, and what we cling so dearly to in a lot of our cultures it is possible that much of it has been distorted or fabricated. That's what it looks like. The population booms that went on in the Industrial Revolution, there's a lot of question marks going on there. Then you have to wonder what technology the invading force, let's say, had or has had over us and hidden from us. And then are we now coming to a point where we are realizing all of these things that they have had to us, and then hence the need for another reset. That's kind of where I'm at. Internet person, I'm on fire. Well, I mentioned this earlier in the broadcast, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's a broadcast. We've had smoky orange skies here all week here, so you can't see that far. Like, we're usually surrounded by a hill, and we can't see the hills on the border of the town here. A lot of fires up here. Very dry spring, very dry fall last year. Also been some arson issues in Canada. I don't know if you guys are aware of any of that, but trying to push an agenda, I think, really. But yeah, you probably hear my breathing because I'm having a cigarette. I'm taking pulls. I got a gamer's rig headset. That's what I make my videos on. I've had a few comments about that, mouth noises and stuff. It's like, well, sorry. Okay. Let's keep going. UK, Nottingham Castle. Quite clearly, this used to be this here. Quite clearly. Check out the base of this bad boy. Again, you can see what was some sort of brickwork or blockwork. You can see it bulge, and then it becomes a little bit more intact. Interesting stuff. Nuremberg, apparently. That one. I've heard of the Eye of the Sahara. I don't know about it being Atlantis, but sure, anything's possible. I think my theories now, I think we're looking old world is what we like to think of as Atlantis. I think is what we're getting into with this research is Atlantis fell or was destroyed. Yeah. Check this one out. Oberdano. I should know what country that is, but Eastern Europe, I believe. You can see on this what looks like a natural landscape if we get in a little closer. Is wall. Yeah, that cabbage patch. The episode that Mind Unveiled did on that was just like a huge dent in the narrative. I think it was really very interesting. Yeah, I think we've been regressed. We may have been. I think our frequency is actually brought down, and then they say we don't use however much of our brain. I think that all sort of fits the bill. We've been lessened, and we got to get back to something closer to what we're supposed to be or should be. Poland. I don't know if you could find any better evidence of melt than this, really. I'm just gonna step away and refill my drink here, guys. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm just realizing I forgot to mute my mic. I told you I was unpolished, guys. I meant it. This time I am going to mute my mic. I'll be right back. Frankie, are you laughing at me or laughing with me? I know what you're doing. Let me show you more visuals. You guys can chat there. I'll just sort of talk you through some of these. This is a very, if you're in this community, this castle in Poland, Ogrodznik, probably butchered it, but this one has shown very obvious signs of melt. Very obvious. Here's one view. Here's another. Also, you can see the little pockets of red scattered in and around there. So when we say it's cooked out, the red is actually cooked out of the block or brick itself. That's what it looks like. I'm digging that theory. I've been on that train for a while, and I think it's legit. I think there's something to it. Look at that, eh? Again, you can see. Let's zoom up to here. See the red? So rather than a building that was built with stone, out of white stone or whatever this is, I think we're looking, and you can actually see what we might consider the shape of it looking like a red brick tower here, and losing all its color, and here just dripping out and turning into blah. Yeah. Built to fit into the boulders. That's some serious wizardry. Those brickies. Those brickies should be etched with, they should have statues of those brickies. Okay, let's show a few more. Oh, there it is again. That's ridiculous. This reminds me of again, Lord of the Rings. I've brought it up like 3 or 4 times in this broadcast, but this reminds me of the face of the orc that dodges the big chunk of Gondor right before the big battle for the White City. That's what this blob looks like here. Hideously deformed. Hideously deformed. And then again, you get the red over the openings. This is in Wales. Take a look at that, what's going on there, right? Quite obvious to my eye. And then you look in the background and you see well intact remains of the old world, right? So this, as far as timeline goes, all part of the same structure, but part of the structure, I think, receiving more damage than the other. I think part of the baffling aspect is people ask, how could this be so damaged but that not? Or how could it remain level? And I don't have answers for that. I just, I don't know. All we can do is speculate, but it looks to be part of the same structure. It's just one part of it received more damage than the other. And you can see it again here. This is in Switzerland. Well, no, Saxon, Switzerland. It's in Germany. Königstein. You can see here the bulging that's gone on. And as we look down here, you can see part of the brick lines in the cliff itself. Back to that castle. This is the gift that keeps on giving, this one, right? The Polish castle. I think that's a narrative buster right there. Anyone who says there's no such thing as melt, I don't know what you think you're looking at when you look at this castle. Yeah, the frequency came from the bottom. That's what it looks like. And it makes sense too if we're talking about circuit board. Right, we're talking about the whole thing being fried from below, the circuit board being fried. Right. This is in the Ozarks, guys. What do you think of that, you guys in the States? Ozarks, did they flood these valleys because they had to hide evidence? These massive dams, were they hiding evidence of civilization below? Oh, because this is, I don't know. Are they supposed to be maybe statues? I don't know. This doesn't look natural to me at all. Panama. This is a really good one too. We can focus in on several different stages of heat damage, I suppose you could say. Now, I guess you could come along and say they filled in the gaps, and that's possible here. But if we look closely at this portion of the wall, you can see the white bricks, and you can see the big, round, ugly blocks, or the popcorn blocks, as Joachim likes to say. So I think it's pretty obvious we're looking at something that changed the nature of the structure itself. Here you have the red bricks down at the bottom and interspersed among the big blocks. Why is it that some received more damage than others? I don't know. Maybe it's the path of electricity, path of damage. All right, I could go on forever, to be honest, guys. I should probably cut it off. I don't know where this is, but pretty amazing. Let's see if I can. I'll finish on this one here. I think I'll do another live soon too. I kind of enjoyed this, and I got lots to bring you. I've got a desktop computer here with thousands and thousands and thousands of visuals. I've said before in other conversations, it sort of became my after work stress ease thing to do, is collect this visual evidence over the last couple of years. So I managed to accumulate these files, and then I felt the need to share, and then came the YouTube channel, and then came you guys, and I appreciate it greatly. This is in China. Oh, that's a good question. Do I have a Google Drive? I have OneDrive that I can share via email. I could probably send a file if somebody wants a specific file. I don't have a problem doing that. I can try and make it work. I'm not the most tech savvy. But if you email me and ask for something, I'll just see what I can do. Happy to share this stuff. And like I mentioned earlier, if you ever want to come on the channel and present your own file, you want a bit of a platform for people that are interested in this stuff, I can provide that for you too. Yeah, Freya, we do. We have to do another one for sure. And then Mark, we got to do one over at our Melted Reality. And I got a live coming up with Frankie over at New West Reset. We keep it Canadian content on our Knuckleheads conversations. So I think it's on Sunday evening. We're gonna have a little chat. And I also got a new video dropping tomorrow morning on Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tulsa, ridiculous narrative there. There was nobody living there in 1900, basically. And well, you'll have to check out the video if you believe that. Okay, guys, thanks for joining me on this live conversation on a Friday evening. Until next time.